Hi everyone, thanks for watching our weekly update on how we're adapting to support bereaved British Forces children during the current health crisis. This week we thought we'd give you a little insight into some of the financial challenges that the charity's been seeing. And so I'm joined by our Chief Exec, Stuart Robinson, and I've got a few questions to fire over at him. Thank you, Stu, for joining me on my weekly SITREP.
No problem.
I guess the first thing to talk about is lots of people are talking about furloughing their staff, and is that an option for Scotty's and other charities?
Yeah, you can. It is an option for charities. Charities can furlough staff as well. I think we've seen some of the larger charities do it, where they've got bigger teams. In particular, if they've got large fundraising teams, they might be furloughing like their events team. And for us, it's a bit trickier as a smaller charity. So I suppose we've got kind of two options really. Because we've got such a small team, if we start taking people out, then it means that we're not going to actually be able to provide the services that we do. So I guess the two options for us were either mothballing everything we do and pretty much kind of shutting down the charity, and then hopefully restarting at a later date and protecting our jobs, protecting the finances, that side of things. Or the other option is actually to keep going, try and support the families more. And I mean, actually, one of the things that I've been most proud of from the team's perspective over the last few weeks is that we didn't even have that conversation. There wasn't even a decision made as to should we mothball, should we carry on. Everybody just automatically assumed, no, families come first. This is a time of crisis, so we should actually be stepping up. How can we actually do more to help the families? So pretty proud that wasn't even a discussion, at trustee level between us. No member of the team at any point has come to me and said, are we going to furlough staff or anything like that? So really, no, furloughing is an option for charities, but wasn't really an option for us if we wanted to carry on doing the work that we're doing.
That's cool. And I think from a personal, as a widow, and obviously my children are supported by the charity as well, and I'm friends with, know lots of the families that we support. It's like what you said, this is the time when the families need us more than ever. They've already got those challenges that they're trying to deal with, and then this current crisis on top of it. So I think it's, the right thing that Scotties have stepped up and have continued to go. But obviously, if we're not furloughing any of our staff, obviously there's questions obviously about fundraising then. How's the fundraising? Because I'm guessing people are thinking at home that that's dropping off because people can't go out because events are cancelled.
Yeah, it's been fairly well broadcast, isn't it, that charities are struggling from a fundraising point of view. And as for us in particular, we've always relied mostly on public fundraising, and so things like in the summer you've got all the summer events. So you've got your London Marathon would have been last weekend, but you've got all those kind of events, Spartan races, all that kind of activity. You've also got village fetes and just lots of outdoors kind of events. So for us, from kind of April through to July, August time, our biggest months for fundraising. So we've seen in March and April that's really dropped off. So you're not seeing those. People just can't get out and do those kind of events. Gala dinners throughout the summer and that kind of thing that we've been relying on. So I think for March we were about 46% down on our fundraising that we would have expected to have brought in. So that's a challenge, and charities have got to look for other ways to try and recoup that fundraising to keep going really over the next few months.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as a team, we're obviously a really positive team, and we're looking at other avenues, but it's really tough right now with the fundraising not coming in. It's quite scary for charities, but obviously everyone knows that there's a big pot of money that the government have issued out to all the charities. So we're getting some of that, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, there's the government are doing everything they can, I guess, but there's this pot of, I think it's £750 million. But just to put that in perspective, charities are expected to lose £4 billion over the next 12 months in fundraising income. So 750 is a big total, but actually in the scheme of things it's quite a small amount. So that's not gonna go spread. Somebody said to me the other day, if you divide that just by all the charities in England and Wales, it's about £4,000 each. So, it's not going to go a long way. We're already seeing that, some of that money is going to some of the larger charities at kind of national level. We've also seen that there's quite a bit of community funding for smaller local organisations, and we're a little bit stuck in the middle at the moment, because obviously we're quite a small charity, less than £1 million a year, and yet actually we're delivering support to families that are across the UK. So we're still not sure how that money's gonna, if any of that money is going to be available for us to use, and when is it going to be available? That's the other challenge, is that it's still maybe a month, 2 months down the road potentially.
Yeah, so I guess if the fundraising is all slowly dying down, there's not a lot of funds coming in through that. There's the government funding isn't there yet. So then I guess the next thing is, does the charity start eating into the reserves? The money that's in the bank.
Yeah,
there.
I think that's an important one, and there's this, there's always the questions around like reserves of charities, and I think there's a distinction that needs to be made between, if you look up reserves in the charity's annual report, that will include all of your assets as well, so not just the cash. So we have holiday homes, so obviously in the long term, if we needed to, we could try and sell those, but right now that's not cash that's available to us. So we have to look at the cash reserves, and generally we're working on 5 to 6 months of cash reserves. I think anywhere between 6 and 9 months. It depends on the charity, but that's good practice. So that's physically having that cash available to you. So if you've got times like this when your fundraising drops off, you can keep going. So we've gone into it with maybe like 5 months worth of cash. But obviously, if we just eat into those reserves, then gradually they go down. And then where are you going forward? So for us, it's really about trying to get through this period without eating into that too much. Now, in April, over the last few weeks, we've been really lucky that we've had some emergency funding coming in from a number of funders. So people like Annington, Lloyd's Patriotic Fund, Royal Navy, Royal Marines Charity, Veterans Foundation, and actually our local authority in West Norfolk as well, have all helped us. So that to some degree for April has offset the missing general fundraising, if you like. Now the challenge is like what do we do next month, and then in the coming months after that. So we're kind of looking at it like short term, like right now, how do we deal with this, and then what's the medium term strategy, and what's the longer term strategy, and maybe the longer term is where perhaps some of this national lottery government funding perhaps comes into play. But in the short term, we've got to make sure that we've got the funds to keep the charity going, so that we're even still in the picture, like down that road. So
okay, so that's kind of the plan for Scotty's then moving forward, is to look at other avenues, and obviously we're looking at virtual fundraising to make sure that we don't eat into our reserves.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Like, so as a team, we obviously we get together like virtually, and on Friday we were discussing like last Friday what's the plan going forward into May. So we've had these kind of like emergency pots that have helped us through April. What does May look like? Because obviously they're one-off, so they're not going to be repeated again in May. So it's really about, okay, we've got the May Marathon virtual challenge, which we're really hoping that as many people as possible get involved in that. And that's, you've signed up to that yourself. Yeah. So that's the...
I have to lead, I can't keep asking people to do it. I've got to do something myself as well. And yeah, every single bit helps. I see it firsthand. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a great way to get involved. And it's 26.2 miles, the length of a marathon, but throughout the month of May. So you could do a bit a day, a mile a day. We can all get out and do some exercise. Like, we're lucky enough that we can still do that. So, or you could, if you're, a bit more into your fitness, maybe you could do it all in one go or spread over, so that, everyone can kind of get involved. And the more people that we can get doing that, and just raise, even if they raise like 20 quid, 30 quid, 40 quid each, it all adds up, doesn't it? So, so things like that are really helpful. We've got something quite exciting coming up, which we've been teasing, which will come out later in May, called Overwatch, which we think is going to be like really, like if you really believe in what Scotty's does, then Overwatch is really going to appeal to you to get involved in that. So that's one to look forward to. So I think those are a couple of things. And the other thing that we're seeing that's working quite well at the moment is our web shop, the charity's merchandise. So we've got, the Scotty's range. We've also got the Fear Naught range, and the sales of that have increased. We've been selling the rainbow T-shirt, special edition one, which we've got a few left. And we've raised over £1,000 in profit from the sale of those T-shirts as well. So there's 3 ways there that the public, anyone watching, can kind of get involved during May. May Marathon, look out for Overwatch, maybe have a little look at the web shop. And then, as you said, you know, we've got a platform now. We'll pop the link up on the screen, but you know, the virtual fundraising, and you know, it doesn't all have to be epic challenges. There's all sorts of things that people can get involved with. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Stuart. And if anyone has any questions for us, then please just email them over. The easiest email is hello@scottyslittlesoldiers.co.uk, and we'll answer your questions in the SitReps. Just again, if anyone, you know, we put this video out on a Friday, and we also send out an email every Friday, like Stuart said. So if you want to sign up to receive our emails and subscribe, please just go over to our website and do that. It's a great way of keeping up to date. And just, you know, thank you to everyone who's showing their support to Scotty's at this really tough time. And, you know, if you want to get involved, like Stuart said, take a look at our challenges that you can do from your home or our web shop. It's really important now that we pull together and make sure that the children of our fallen heroes are not forgotten, and that Scotty's can continue to do the work it does. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.